Hey, can you believe we're already halfway through 2023? And can you believe how much good manga has come out? What is going on? But seriously, 2023 has birthed some amazing new series to add to our shelves, and today I'll be sharing with you my favorites. These are the ones that have gripped me from the very first chapter on. Immediate attraction, if you will. So with that being said, let's get into it. Before we get started though, I'd like to welcome you to MangAnalysis, where I do little videos based on the manga I've been reading. If you like what you see and would like to see more, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Maybe even leave a comment. Let's get a conversation going. Quick little disclaimer before I really start. Since these series have come out in 2023, most of these I've only read the first or second book. So if you know something I don't, please, no spoilers in the comments. Shoha Shoten. So when I start a new series, it's either because I'm following some hype or because I impulsively buy it. Rarely do I start a new series having read it or done any extensive research on it, other than like how long it's been running for, how many books does it have out, etc. With Shoha Shoten, I actually had already read the first 3 chapters online, and I didn't even like it that much. Knowing that, I still added the first volume to my buy list simply because the artist Takeshi Obata is my favorite and I must support. Obviously, I was surprised when I finished the first volume and found myself extremely excited about what I had just read. It was really fun. Shoha Shoten follows 2 high school boys as they try to make a name for themselves in the stand-up comedy industry. It has all the trappings of a sports manga with some early on competition and a sweet tournament arc in development. Shoha Shoten does seem like it should be a comedy, but it's not. Not to me anyway. What it is though is an interesting dive into the psychology of comedy and science of what makes people laugh. I can honestly say that while it does follow a formula I've read plenty of times before, it delivers that formula covered in a fresh coat of paint, turning it into something I've never really seen before. If you like Bakuman, Hikaru no Go, or Haikyuu, think you should check this one out. Chujinex. Chujinex is next, and oh boy, I did not expect this. Honestly, I don't know what I was expecting from Sui Ishida after he gave us Tokyo Ghoul, but it wasn't this, and I mean that in a good way. Chujinex is set in an alternative modern Earth where the Shujin roam free. What are Shujin? Well, they're like people with superpowers, essentially, and most of them are bad news. One night, our boy Tokyo and his friends get attacked by Shujin and have no choice but to ingest a drug that will turn him into Shujin as well in order to defend themselves. Then starts their new lives as Shujin. So what's neat about this series so far is that the Tokyo Ghoul influence remains strong instead of glamorizing the hero trope like My Hero Academia and One Punch Man. The ghouls in Tokyo Ghouls are seen as enemies, and our hero becomes a ghoul to help humankind fight the ghouls, creating a fun conversation when it comes to dividing good and evil. Chujinex seems to be following that pattern, while in My Hero Academia and One Punch Man there's a clear divide between what's considered a villain and what's a hero. What I wasn't expecting in Chujinex though was the humor and zaniness of it all. It's very silly, and while overall it's a dark story coated in a heavy atmosphere, there are plenty of moments where it doesn't seem to take itself too seriously, which is really nice. If you like Tokyo Ghoul, My Hero Academia, and One Punch Man, and even The Boys, like the Amazon Prime show, then I think you should check this one out. Insomniacs After School. Insomniacs After School was absolutely an impulse buy based on hype. I walked into a bookstore, saw the first volume, remembered that the anime had just been airing, remembered it was getting some love, and thought, hey, I should spend money on this immediately. And so I did, and I'm really glad I did. Insomniacs After School tells the story of Nakami and Magari, 2 insomniacs as they try to find a good place to sleep in their school. This leads them to 1, reopen the school's astronomy clubs, and 2, become friends. And definitely, hopefully, something more than friends. I thought this was a glorious first volume. I was immediately swept by the gorgeous art, which is weirdly kinda cinematic. There's a certain candidness to the frames and panels that makes me think everything was filmed and then photographed. It's absolutely lovely. Also, the protagonists have some immensely amusing chemistry, and it's only the beginning of the series. I'm really excited to keep reading the series, and I can't recommend it enough. This would be for fans of Eyes, Blue Box, and something a bit more chill, like Flying Witch, Girls Last Tour even. Yeah, if you're reading enjoying Flying Witch but was hoping for romance in it, then I think you should check out Insomniacs After School. Boys Abyss. Boys Abyss, oh Boys Abyss. Okay, so I went into the story completely blind. I was swept by the hype, and you know what? I get it. In a weird, unfortunate way, I get it. I'll say now, the series deals with lots of mature themes, and there are some things that may be triggering to some. If this ain't your cup of tea, skip ahead. Raiji lives in a small town, and his life is not that great. He's being bullied, and he works hard helping his mom care for his home and the rest of the family. One evening, he meets a woman that turns out to be a popular idol that he's really into. Things get weird when she offers herself to him and then asks him if he'd consider maybe committing suicide with her. Yes, your typical teenage drama. Okay, so the series one book in has left quite the impression on me. I think about it a lot. It's not necessarily one of those books that you finish reading and think to yourself, wow, what a good book. Can't wait for the next one. It's more like, oh no, oh geez. I hope these kids are gonna be okay. Which, is fine. The small town dread in this book is unlike anything I've ever read. And the way they convey the protagonist's dwindling mental health is very convincing. I'm already seeing side characters that are much too happy for this series, and I'm expecting horrible things to happen to them. It's like a car crash. You don't want it to happen, but you can't really look away. This series is for anyone who has read and enjoyed, or at least appreciated, Goodnight Pun Pun, Blood on the Tracks, and Sensei's Pious Lie. Demons of the Shadow Realm, or Demons of the Shadow Realm is what I will call it for the rest of this video. Demons of the Shadow Realm is a series I picked up, again, knowing nothing about and relying entirely on creator clout to guide me. Hiromu Arakawa gave us Full Metal Alchemist, and that's all I really need to know to be convinced to try their new series. Demons of the Shadow Realm follows Yuru, a young man living in a remote little village as he watches over the people and his twin sister Asa. Well, Yuru finds out rather quickly into this story that nothing is what it seems, and that he will have to control some demons himself to save his loved ones and find out the truth behind his destiny. Or something like that. I kept the synopsis of this one vague because there's a really awesome twist in the first chapter, and also because I don't really know what's going on, in a good way. What's really neat about this series, one book in, is that we have no conception of who are the bad guys, who the good guys are. All we know is that Yuru is confused, knows nothing, and so do we, which is very exciting. I can't wait to learn more about this world and the governing forces that make it turn. Hard to compare the series to others since, again, I'm still trying to figure it out, but if you like Full Metal Alchemist, Demon Slayer, and Noragami, and you know what, Pandora Hearts-ish, I think you might want to check this series out. Finally, My Girlfriend's Child. This was a very pleasant surprise, not because I was going in expecting anything bad, but because I was expecting good, and ended up finding greatness. Yeah, greatness. Sachi and her boyfriend Takara have been dating for a while. They're in a happy relationship, and communication between the two is top notch. Not even the looming end of high school is enough to shake their love and commitment for one another. And then Sachi finds out she's pregnant, and everything changes. Or does it? So first off, I love shoujo, but I often find myself finding the art a little forgettable. It's serviceable, it does its job. But My Girlfriend's Child has some really amazing artwork, particularly with the backgrounds, which are drawn in with this lovely loose watercolory style. And of course, the characters. Sachi and Takara immediately feel fleshed out, and while there's tons more to learn about them, their chemistry was clear and their dynamic was very well written. I didn't need narration or exposition to tell me that those two had a solid relationship. I could tell by their dialogue, and even their body language was drawn perfectly. Of course, the theme of teen pregnancy is also very important and treated respectively and seriously. Despite only being one book in, I feel certain that this will be a great experience for anyone, male or female or non-binary, who has had a child, is considering getting one, or has experienced teen pregnancy themselves. It's also looking like Takara is going to be a supportive partner, which is really nice to see. Teen pregnancy, or pregnancy as a whole, is a rather niche in manga, so I'm not too sure what other series to compare it to, but I suppose any series with good female leads trying to figure out what the hell is going on around them would suffice. Series like Oh Maidens and Your Savage Season comes to mind, as well as A Silent Voice and Sensei's Pious Lie, kinda. Well, there are my favorite new series of 2023 so far. I can't stress this enough, we are being spoiled this year. Really, really good stuff. Now, I'd like to hear from you. What are your favorite new series of 2023 6 months into it? Were there any that I talked about today that you want to check out? Did I miss any? I'm sure I did. If so, let me know in the comments down below, for I'd love to know. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you did indeed enjoy it, consider subscribing. This was MangAnalysis, and I'll see you in the next one.